Hi, my name is Bracha Andreze. My Jewish hero is Babi Leah, known as Louise Reaping. Have you ever heard of someone caring enough about others to accept a challenging situation and turn it into doing good for her community? My Babi had the opportunity to help her sister, who was a special needs girl, by supporting her mom while she developed a school for children like my great aunt. My Babi's sister passed away on the same day as the Rebbe. My Babi continues to do lots of good for others. All of her good deeds honor Hashem. Now I am going to tell you why I picked my Babi as my Jewish hero. I picked her because she is so kind and sweet and cares about other people. I can follow my Babi by being so sweet and kind and help other people when they are lonely and sad. Example, I can always play with my friends during recess if I see them lonely and bored. This is why I picked my Babi as my Jewish hero. Thank you.
My name is Cole, and can you imagine speaking Yiddish with your parents but not still realizing you're Jewish? Well, that's what happened with my city. As a result, he's made sure that his kids and grandchildren receive a quality Jewish educational experience. The reason why I chose my deity is because, as my Jewish hero, is because he made sure that we have a good life. He was responsible for most of our comfort in the house. He makes sure everyone is healthy and wealthy, and food and space and supplies for living. He's a good person to have jokes with, have conversations, and talk about things with. He's also good at setting up special occasional parties just for us, and he loves us all as much as we love him. He sometimes takes me out in my backyard to play catch. He also gives me tips on things, how to make it easier. And that's why I picked my most wonderful city in the world. I hope I can be like my city by supporting and helping my own family someday. I will have to work hard and earn money and do other things to help my family eat better.
My Jewish hero. My country Jewish hero is the Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Rabbi. Rabbi Menachem Mendel was born on April 5, 1902 in Mykolaiv, Russia, which is now in present-day Mykolaiv, Ukraine. His father was Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Nerson, or Reb Levi, as he is called, who was a great Kabbalist mystic, a great-grandson of the third officer, Rabbi Menachem Mendel, the son of Tzedek. His mother was Reverend Fana, a person of great honor and a mother of Israel, who came from an important family of famous rabbis and chassidim. The Rebbe is recognized as a founder of Jewish outreach. Throughout the Rebbe's entire life, before he became Rebbe, while he was Rebbe, and after his passing around 20 years ago, he has helped tens of thousands of people from all around the world, Chabad, Jews, and non-Jews. I'm going to share a story with you about the Rebbe. Once on a Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe and his chassidim were walking to Tassos. In the middle of their walk, it suddenly started raining. Only some chassidim continued on their walk. The rest turned around and went home. The rain caused the material on their black hats to drip on their faces. They finally got there, but they realized that the park was closed. The Rebbe, who was in his upper 50s, climbed over a 10-foot tall barbed wire fence in order to go to Tasha. The Hasidim that came followed the Rebbe's lead and did the same. There are thousands of stories that show us how great the Rebbe is. This is just one of them. This is a great story that shows the sacrifices the Rebbe made in order to fulfill Hashem's will. This story also shows us that the Rebbe is a good leader. I picked the Rebbe for so many reasons. One is because he is so holy. He has made many miracles for many people every day of his life. Another reason is because he is a great leader. Every Sunday he would stand for hours on end handing people dollars for tzedakah and giving blessings. Even to the children, a third even to the children. A third reason is because he was very kind. He loved everyone no matter what, even if they didn't agree with his ideas. Of these three reasons, I would like to copy his kindness by giving food and money to the poor. Thank you.
My Jewish hero is my great-grandfather David. It's important that if I tell you about my great-grandfather, that you should know that he grew up very poor. The government of Lithuania was ruled by the Tsar of Russia. He hated the Jews, because they were planning to starve us all to death. They almost did that to my great-grandfather David. As a boy, he grew up without enough food to eat. The government used to hand out food to its citizens. As Jews, they weren't allowed any food. They had to scrounge it wherever they could. My grandfather had nighttime blindness and a swollen belly. He looked like a walking skeleton. Gave him a heart condition as an adult. A part of this bad treatment to Jews was that they were not allowed any electricity. Lived without electricity for a long time, until one day, when my great-grandfather was 8 or 9, he noticed that all the non-Jews had electricity. He thought that wasn't fair. So he made light bulbs and got wires from the power line to go to his house. Remember how I said my great-grandfather grew up poor? Well, here's what happened. He sold and bought real estate, all the while listening to his wife just like the Torah says to do. Because he listened to her and because he did well in school and learned math really well, he did something really amazing. The last building he bought, he sold it over $1 million. The Torah says that you have to listen to your wife, and he did. The reason why I picked him was because he was very inspiring. He made something out of nothing. I also chose this person because I am named after him. Something I wanted to do that he did is to do really well in school. You can copy that by paying attention in school and studying.
Her name is Issa. I was born after her. She was born in 1954. She grew up in Montreal. She went to the school based with me. She was in the first graduating class. She liked to act, make skits. She had 4 siblings, Sonny, Ellie, Maria, and Rocco. She would never want to worry people with her. She always had emotionally tough life. Faith in her son that everything would be okay. When Issa was 7 years old, she would go to a movie all the time. She would cook and clean for her. One day, she decided what she was eating her. So she went from door to door collecting money. She had enough money to buy her clothes. She went and bought a new car, but she never got paid for it. Nobody ever said that they have to do it tomorrow from all the Philippines. That is not a lot of kindness. That is the one. That is the reason that I picked it for my teacher. I picked it because she is my role model as a pure kindness.
Not everybody knows who Ariella is. She is my first cousin on my father's side of my family. Ariella is 21 years old and is enrolled at Columbia University studying for a second undergraduate degree. Her first bachelor's degree is from Stern College, a private girls' school in New York. She is a very caring and loving person. My father's brother Joel is Ariella's father. Uncle Joel married Andy Kelly and they had 2 daughters, Lassie and Ariella. They lived in Vacaville, California, where there are not too many Jewish families. There is no Jewish day school anywhere near Vacaville, so Ariella went to a public elementary, middle, and high school. Her early Jewish education came mostly from home and from religious school on Sunday. At first, Uncle Joel's family went to a conservative show, but then as they wanted to become more observant of traditional Judaism, so they started driving to a modern Orthodox show in Sacramento, a 60-mile drive. When my father introduced Uncle Joel and his family to Rabbi Resnick in Pleasanton, the town I lived in before moving to Irvine, about a pleasant visit came their new home for Yiddishkeit. She was chosen to speak at her high school graduation. It was a big honor because she was a valedictorian, but she couldn't give her graduation speech using the microphone because it was Shavuot. Since she could not give her graduation speech, she talked to her parents and came up with a possible solution, which was to record her speech beforehand, so it could be played at the graduation ceremony. Ariella talked to her teachers and the school principal about this, and they gave her permission to record her speech. Even though it was Shavuot, Ariella and her and her parents were able to walk to the school, and she was able to participate in her graduation ceremony. Ariella and her parents and all who were at the school that evening were able to listen to Ariella's high school valedictorian speech. I chose Ariella Fine to be my Jewish hero because she is very special to me, and I think she is a wonderful person. She inspires me to be as a Jew and to learn Torah and to keep Hashem's mitzvahs that I am responsible for. I want to be like Ariella and work hard to earn the same honors as her and be a role model just like her. To achieve this goal, I will behave the best I can. I could also study hard and get good grades like Ariella. And if I don't do my best, I will think of Ariella and she will inspire me to stay on the right path, on the correct path.
My grandma. My grandma went to the school in Israel in the kibbutz. Then she went to the army when she was 18. In the army, she went to the tank battalion and could be sent on short notice. So that's why she spent a lot of time training in the desert with about 800 boys. I picked my grandma because she has many friends from Israel and has many interesting stories to tell. She's nice and giving, and that's why I picked her for my Jewish hero. I want to be like my grandma because she's nice and giving and interesting. I can do that by helping my friends with his or her homework or something else like that. I could be like my grandma by giving someone a cookie or something else sweet. I could also listen to the news.
And Zadie, Yaakov, Moshe, Hako, and Freedom, who I'm named after. This is why I chose it. My great-grandfather lived in Poland. Europe was a dangerous place for Jews after World War II, and Jews were trying to escape, but they needed passports which they did not have. My Zadie put his life in danger by forging passports for many people, which enabled them to leave Europe. However, he was caught and sent to prison. Miraculously, he was freed. I want to emulate my Zadie's love for a fellow Jew, to be kind, caring, and to love to do a favor for another.
My Jewish hero is Elisha Manuela. My Jewish hero is my mother, Elisha Manuela. She was born in Guatemala and she was raised with her older sister. Even though she had a mother and father, she never met her father. She wasn't raised with him. When Dummy was a little girl, she would have to wake up super early and do her chores. But if she didn't do her chores, her older sister would slap her with a wire. Usually, she would always be obedient. So since Dummy wasn't allowed to get toys and dolls after she was done with her chores, she would hide and pretend her fingers were dolls. Now she is a very important person to me and teaches a lot of people to do very special things. A story to show why I chose this person is when she was very, very little, she behaved really good. But as she got older, she started being a little disobedient. She thought to herself, I don't want to get stopped with a wire. And from that day on, she was a better person. A way to imitate my Jewish hero is to be responsible the next day. 3 reasons why I chose this person is she is responsible, she is beautiful, and she is my best.
There's a story that my grandfather told. The story is that Bubby Hinda lived in the neighborhood and was the only from her observant family on the street. There were people who were Jewish, but not. She was an amazing cook. So Bubby Hinda made food for Shabbos on Friday. The smell was so good that her neighbors came to her house. She taught them about Shabbat and let them have a small piece of cake she made. She made amazing coffee cake. And every week, the neighbors would wait until Friday so that they could have a piece of coffee cake and the other delicious cakes that Bubby Hinda. I picked my great-grandmother, Bubby Hinda, for my Jewish hero because she was a very special person. She was a special person because she always tried to make peace between people, teach people about Judaism, and help everybody in need. What I want to do with Bubby Hinda is to teach people about Judaism and not let others fight. I will do that by not fighting with anyone, and when someone is in a fight, try to stop them by changing the subject or doing something else. And also by teaching people about Judaism at my synagogue or when someone has a question.
Anyone who squarely the belief that I have. My grandmother was taught from a very young age to be strong in her belief.
For example, my Bubby's school was collecting scrap metal. They would go around the neighborhood and see if there were metal things that were trash. Then they brought it to school and put it in the trash pile in the schoolyard. Very soon, big piles formed in the yard, and it was hard to even see the grass. Finally, it was the day that they would see who won. My Bubby was so excited. They had the assembly and her class won to go on a cruise. This was such an exciting trip. She was dancing with happiness on her way home. She finally reached the door to her house and ran and saying, "Mommy, I won the contest. We gotta go on a cruise." Her mother said, "Little love, calm down. How will you get kosher food? How will you celebrate Shabbos?" My Bubby was so excited to go on this trip, she did not think of all these things. Even though my Bubby really wanted to go, she knew she could not. She knew she could not tell the school that she was not able to go because she was Jewish and kept kosher. That was against the law. She decided to pretend her mother was sick and had to stay behind to take care of her. When her teacher heard this, she went to visit my Bubby's house to see if there was any way my Bubby could go on this cruise. Her mother told the teacher that she was too sick to send her daughter on this trip and that she needed my Bubby to take care of her. Even though my Bubby wanted so badly to go on this trip, she did not argue with her mother and even played along to protect her Jewish identity from the Russian police. As hard as it was for my Bubby to stay behind, she listened to her mother and did the right thing. My Bubby told me the story by my sister's best mitzvah. What is so amazing, as an adult, my Bubby realized that it was harder for her mother not to let her go on a trip than it was for her to stay behind. She respected her mother a lot. That is a special mitzvah that I learned from her.
About my Jewish share. Have you ever been able to say that?
I hope you decide to do it, because I need to remember.
Well, my Jewish share is Sarah's sister Jessica. I chose her because I named after my great-grandma. She's a very special person. She had 10 children.
This has to be drive on it. It's a school iPad. Could you do it for now?
She's called Rebbetzin by everyone. When someone said Rebbetzin, they realized that when Sarah's sister was born, she was an only child. When she was growing up, her mother and father gave her everything she wanted. When the war came, she did not get it.
The only thing is I have to video. So is there?
And now she did everything herself. She cleaned and helped others. I picked my Bubby Sarah's sister because she was a very special woman, and she never gave up their money. I can help you by never giving up when I have a test and when I need a study. I really want to imitate her because she's the best good cheerleader. I'd like to. And my name is Yvonne Short, and I'd like to share my Jewish life here.
Everybody. A lot of people say that. A lot of people say that.
Well, they do to me. They're
She would rather
special
see
club, otherwise called
want her to tell you that.
that my grandfather, Charles Hayek, Charles George, developed and sold to his My grandfather was a very unique person. One of my memories of him was home. Initiation into the White House. He started his club in 1900, and the only two members were his two sons. Later, his grandchildren were invited to visit. Whenever he would visit, he would hold a wise meeting with us. First, we would talk about how to be a better person. Next, we would save up and put some shady theme on us and pretend like we were humans. Finally, we would play a game it is called the How you play is you would ask from math spelling or vocabulary. He says, if you answer correctly that part, whoever organized, deliberate, and steps ahead of it. People respected his opinions as he thought things through carefully. He cautiously and cautiously. He was one whom people could rely on to make a difference. I hope to emulate my grandfather.
Is my great-grandfather Tzvi Greenwald. He was born in Jerusalem in 1931. He had 4 brothers and 3 sisters. He got married in 1952 to Rivka Rebbe. He educated lots of children in areas he lived. He fought for Israel in 1948 against the British for Israel to be a state for the Lehi. He was a Lehi. He excels father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. Loved every human being. when I went to Israel, when I went to Israel 2 years ago, his wife was home and we went to visit them. And instead of her pushing us aside and not letting us have food or no of that, we just came back from the airport and she made us a whole breakfast, even though she was over 80. The reason why I chose these people, my great grandfather, is because he had a lot of opposite struggle and a lot of excitement for others.
Hi, my name is Bianca. Have you ever met anyone whose whole life was changed by having an eye infection? That was my great grandmother, Baba Khana Ethel. She was my Zeta Henny's mother, and she came from Linkova, Russia. In those days, Jews were not treated well where she lived, so her family decided to go down to the docks to board a ship that would take them to America to start a new life. You'll never guess what happened. They were turned away because my Baba had an ear infection. The next day, Baba Khana went back. This time, her infection had cleared, but the ship to America was full, and the only ship that had space for her and her family was the one going to South Africa. She climbed onto the ship and started a new life. Generations later, I am pursuing her dream by living in America and being free to be Jewish. Hi, my name is Roma Yukalevich. Have you ever wondered what it's like to have a sibling who is 13 years older than you? Well, I don't have to wonder because I live it and it's awesome. My Jewish hero is Esther Kessler. She used to be a Yukalevich, but she married Yaakov Kessler. She is my sister. She's older than me by 13 years. Esther is very funny, kind, modest, and smart. Esther is my role model. She lived in Israel for 6 months for seminary. I missed her a lot, but we found ways to communicate. For example, we used Skype. She graduated Cal State Long Beach. Esther also learned and taught at Hebrew High with Shmuel and Bluma Market. Esther was born on April 10, 1991. She was born in Moscow, Russia, but when she was 3, moved to Los Angeles. Then she moved to Long Beach and then to Huntington Beach, California. But now that she's married, she lives in Redondo Beach, California. Esther got married on March 17, 2013. Actually, now she has a baby boy named Menachem Mendel Kessler. I love my sister very much. I chose Esther Kessler because she inspires me to do everything in the best way possible. Hi, my name is Mishkin Ruby, and I like to learn about our Jewish hero. How many of you can... You're a direct descendant of the 6th and 7th Rebbe. Well, I can. My Jewish hero is Rebbe Simcha. She's the kind of kid who always wanted to help people. She was born in 1880 on the 28th of Tesla in Ukraine. Her parents were Rabbi Meir Stoma and Rachel Naglovska. She was the eldest of 4 children. Rabbi Simcha gave birth to 3 sons, Menachem Mendel, Zofir, and Yigal Arila. Before nursing her son, Rabbi Simcha would wash her hands in the Jewish tradition and do the same for an infant. She had a yarmulke and fishes made for him and took great care to raise her son, who would eventually become the 7th Chabad Rebbe. Now I'm going to tell you a story about Rabbi Simcha and how kind and caring Rabbi Simcha was. Rabbi Simcha was a good wife to her husband, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak. But by then, Rabbi Simcha did not know anything about her husband. Rabbi Simcha did not know anything about her husband, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak. Then she was arrested to prison. When she was notified where he was, she traveled to prison with food that she brought for him on Shabbos. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak did not accept the package on Shabbos. This was spite of the fact that Rab had not eaten anything besides black bread and water for 6 months. What a spiritual strength the Rab had. And after Shabbos, he accepted the package, because religious Jews don't accept packages on Shabbos. That is why I picked the story to tell you about Rabbi Simcha. This is why I picked Rabbi Simcha as my Jewish hero, because she was a kind and caring lady. Rabbi Simcha was a real role model to us. And an example that I can take from my Jewish hero is to be more kind and caring, and especially to care about the needs of others. If I see someone needs something, I should try to help them as much as I can and as fast as I can.